So live in Rio Linda. Uh-oh, meeting in progress. Okay, yes, we better shut up now.
Okay, very good. Let's see. I guess I'm going to start the meeting. Oh, here comes our president.
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. What a nice turnout. Good to see everybody. Am I on camera? Let me get my notes. Now, am I on camera? All right, well, good evening, everybody. Most of you know who I am. I'm James Goldstene. I'm the club president, Alpha Echo 6 Juliet Golf. And before we get to introductions, I just have a few things to say. First of all, Happy New Year for everybody on Zoom and here. We renewed our contract with the temple here for space. They agreed to have us come back, so I think they thought we were good for it. And so that's $700 a year we're paying to use this space 11 times a year for our club meetings. And then basically any other time we've needed to use it for clinics or get on the air events. We did tell them, because they're about to put a new roof on, they're about to rebuild the kitchen, they have a lot of capital improvements that they need to do here. They were actually thinking of moving, and they decided to stay, so now they're working on repairs. When we have events, if you feel like adding a little bit to a bucket, which we don't have for tonight, please consider doing that. Whatever, even if it's $1, we'll just give it to them to help cover the cost. As you can see, these were moved, but they're full of water from the leaky roof. There's a red cone over there from the roof. HVAC system needs to be updated, and they appreciate us and the other groups that come here. We're not the only group that comes here. So, you may or may not have noticed, but the coverage in the north area, Roseville, Auburn area, is really good because we recently put in a receiver. What's it called? A voting receiver. But turns out that it's costing much more than we thought it would for the space. And so Chris, N6ICW, is negotiating with the landlord, but we'll keep you posted on that. We are also sharing this with the North Hills Radio Club, and both boards are concerned about the cost. And I just want to let you know that's an issue that may be coming up in the future. But for the moment, the coverage is excellent. It works very well. Bob Mix, where's Bob? Has turned what he thought would be a one-day kit building clinic, taking 3 hours, into a 9-hour kit building clinic. And we have one more session. And I've asked the temple about meeting here on Saturday the 24th of this month or Saturday the 31st. Many of you are in that group. We're aiming towards the 31st. I think Bob will send out a note to check. Does the 31st work for those who are participating in it? All right. So we're working on that. Me and the board, we would like your feedback on the best way to communicate with you. We're using Ham Club Online, and our amazing vice president, who is also the vice director for ARRL for the Pacific Division, puts out emails every day about upcoming events and nets and things like that. And we're trying to figure out what is the best way to reach you. we know that one method may not be your preferred method. You prefer another way, but we'd like your ideas. You could email me or talk to me about the best way to reach you. My goal is to increase participation in our nets. Wednesday night, we have a VHF net, a 10-meter net that's tech-friendly, and a UHF slow scan TV. On Saturdays, we have the 40-meter net. Carol. And Ed's there. Okay. Hello, Professor. I'll be done in a moment. And then we also need ideas for guest speakers. Tonight, Phil, KD6RM, arranged for our guest. But we need more ideas. I think next month we have somebody presenting on mesh networks. Meshtastic, okay. Who's doing that presentation? Bill, okay. And then last, K6GEO. Ben is going to present on mesh networks and Meshtastic. Last thing for the moment is that we need volunteers for field day. That's in June. But we need to know now so we can make arrangements. Bob and Neil have been our leaders on this, but we need to distribute the workload. So please let them know if you're going to be around in that last weekend of June and able to help. Phil, my plan is to have you introduce Dr. Fong.
Could we have Ed's picture up on the screen?
I'm right here.
We know you're in there, we just can't see you.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I think it probably does.
I'm not that good looking to begin with, okay?
I know that, but they don't.
They don't, well, they're gonna find out.
A little bit of history about Mr. Fong. I got introduced to Ed by a fellow by the name of Paul Rako, who was an editor for Electronic Design magazine. Also worked at National Semiconductor, and I believe Ed was at National Semiconductor for a while. Is that
Yeah.
true?
I consulted here and there, 18 years for them.
18 years.
Mm-hmm.
In any event, Ed designed integrated circuits. I know he did a lot of stuff with op amps. He currently teaches down in Santa Cruz. I've been around the industry forever, and if you ever go down to the swap meets in Silicon Valley, he's responsible for an awful lot of those events, and he does a great deal of work for the amateur radio community, and he's a good guy. So with that, that is my introduction to Mr. Edison Fong, Professor Dr. Edison Fong.
Okay.
And we'll turn this over to you.
Hey, you want to hear one of my greatest achievements? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Some of you probably know, we have the FARS, Foothill Amateur Radio Society banquet in, it's too far for you to commute, Phil, but you probably heard of it, right? We used to have a guest speaker and we have a grand prize and all this stuff. Are you familiar with that, Phil?
Yes.
You are. You know who we got to be the guest speaker this year?
Tell me.
My niece, who is Tammy Ma. You know who some of you guys may have heard of Tammy Ma. She was on 60 Minutes. She is the leader of the fusion group, the group at Lawrence Livermore that achieve positive energy for nuclear fusion. Some of you guys might have seen her in 60 Minutes. She's the leader
Is
of
this
that.
with the National Ignition Facility?
Lawrence Livermore. No,
That's,
it's the fusion group. It's the nuclear fusion group that's trying to achieve positive net energy through nuclear fusion.
that's not part of National Ignition?
I'm not sure,
Well,
but
in
it's
any event, I'm familiar with Lawrence Livermore.
yeah. So they've been working on it for CERN and Lawrence Livermore, Los Alamos. These people have been working on this for 60 years. And she manages the group that's the first to achieve positive net energy. So she will be our guest speaker. I got her to be our guest
Very
speaker.
impressive.
Yeah. She will win the Nobel Prize. In about 10 years. Probably I'll be dead by then because usually you have to wait 10 years. But it's quite an achievement, right? If you guys are into this, they've been trying to control nuclear fusion for the last 60, 70 years and have positive net energy. So yeah, she's the person, her group did it. Amazing. Absolutely incredible. But if you guys, we're going to limit it to 100 seats for the FARS banquet because it will sell out. It's going to be at the Blue Pheasant on February the 27th. But that's quite an honor to have her. Anyway, so thanks a lot, Phil. Hey, tonight, so I think a lot of you guys, I've either met you guys over at Pacificon or you probably have my antenna or have one of my antennas. So tonight we're going to talk about the tri-band antenna. Now, Phil, I've given you the talk on the USDX radio. Is that correct? I don't remember all these.
Yes.
You have. Okay. Okay.
I'm going to turn the mic back to our illustrious leader.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm here, Professor Fong.
Sure.
We had a good talk by the buffet one evening. We were closing the place down at Pacificon this last October.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to think who you are. I got to see your face.
When you see me, you'll remember.
You're either that handsome or you're that ugly, one or the other, right?
Oh, I'm unforgettable. Yeah.
You're unforgettable. Okay.
But yes, that's a reason to go to Pacificon is the professors walking around. It's wonderful.
I don't know if I'm wonderful, but I enjoy going there. It's interesting. Our group, about a third of the members of FARS are former students of mine. I've been teaching for 30, 35 years. And then the board, likewise. So what it shows you is you never know. It wouldn't surprise me if I've had 1,000 students passing by and graduate students. And maybe 30 of them become pretty active hams. They really get interested. It's harder and harder these days because there are other distractions, but it's like you got to introduce it to everyone and the spark lights in some of them and they become really interested. They help it's going to be the next generation that runs that flea market down here. I'm good for maybe 10 years and it's still growing. There's still people that come, but there's not enough people running it. It's the same thing with Pacificon, right? If you guys go out to Pacificon, we're not getting the influx of younger folks because they get other distractions. We have to work on that. And maybe it's a little harder, ham radio, right? You have to work a little harder. It's not like going on the Chat GPT and start playing around with it. You can't play it. You've got to do a little bit of studying. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about a tri-band antenna. So it's a pretty good group you guys have. I see that the room you have is really nice. So let's see. We're going to talk about the tri-band antenna. So I think I can share. How does that work? Hang on. Let me get my presentation. Whoops. Hang on. That's not it. So I think I can do this, right?
Yeah, it's set up for sharing.
It's set up for sharing. Okay. So let me go up here. Okay, I'm going to attempt the sharing thing here. Let me shrink my screen. And here we go. I'm going to try it. Ah, it works. And
It's coming up here. There, we can see it.
yeah. Okay, you should be able to see it like that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep, we can see it.
Very good. And is the audio okay?
The audio is good and we can see you off to the side, so it's perfect.
All righty. Very good. Let's get started. Thank you very much, Phil. I've known Phil I guess I've known you for over 20 years, well over 20 years, at least. So, and it's always good to see him at the swap meet, at Pacificon, and the analog aficionado party we have down here. It's all lots of fun. All right, we're going to talk about the tri-band antenna. And I don't know, many of you might have one, like Carol might have one. But if you don't, or if you do and you want to hear how it actually works, we did have to patent it, unfortunately, because there are too many copycats here. They start copying it. So it is patent number 9,608,336. And I think you guys know some of my previous works. I work with my students at UC Santa Cruz. We make these, we sell them both commercially and for hams. And that's how we raise our funds. I haven't had a grant, and I think my last grant was a good 10 years ago. This is a really good way of raising funds. It helps students learn how to make things if they're not used to soldering. It kind of shows them how to run a business. That it isn't all, I have them work on the antennas. I put them all together and I tune them up. But the little pieces drill holes, cut quarter wave stubs. They learn how to do that. We do make this antenna in one of my classes, but that takes hours, hours to make one working one. And to sell these, we've got to pump them out pretty quick. But they do help out. And that's one thing they come and say, hey, because a lot of them have not worked in industry. They say, it's really a lot of work, isn't it? I go, well, here's my famous phrase. Just because you have a degree, an engineering degree, does not mean you can sit under a tree, eat French bread and drink wine and come up with ideas and they pay you. The ideas are usually 2 or 3% of the first time in the product. And it takes, probably 95 to 97% of effort until it actually becomes a product where you actually get income. Yes, you need the original idea, but to get it to actually make money, there's a lot of work that goes into that. So let's see, we're going to get into this. Okay, so this is the DBJ1. I think probably I would imagine most of you either have one or are familiar with it. That was our original, my technique of trying to get dual band. I'll review it in a while, just a little bit. Then we made a roll-up version of it. But today, here's another one we did. If you guys want to give a talk, want to hear a talk on this, it's a really simple way of making a dual element collinear to get about 4 to 5 dB of gain out of a J-pole. Single band, though, it's not dual band. Great for UHF because it's pretty small, still about 36 inches. Probably not practical for VHF. I think for VHF, the antenna turns out to be about like 11 feet, so that's a pretty tall one. But on UHF, it's like 36 inches. It's pretty reasonable, and you get about 5 dB of gain. I give a talk on that. But we're going to talk about this today. That's my daughter there, years ago, though. She's a mechanical engineer with a master's. Actually, she has a master's in mechanical engineering and a master's in robotics. I even forget. That was her minor for a PhD, but she convinced herself, and I says, it's okay, you want to leave. You've had enough schooling, you can find a job. So she didn't finish. That's fine with me. Doesn't bother me one bit. So we're going to talk about this today. And it's patented, like what I say. And it's patented by, K6VC, this CVD, Mike Kaufman, really good attorney. He's great for hams because he's a licensed ham. Okay. So all these antennas I don't do them because I want to do them. I do them because there's an audience, right? There's some application for it. DBJ1, that was the original dual band base. DBJ2, that was a portable version of it. The UHF gain antenna, actually, that was from a grant from an ATD subsidiary, AC Darty, for a mesh network. But we made a ham version of that and a GMRS version of it. And this thing comes to 220. Well, that came from FEMA originally. So when did I start this? About 2006, about 10 years ago. They approached me saying, we operate during emergencies 2 meters, 220, and 440. 220 primarily for packet. What they found was the reason why, if you see FEMA set up, 2 meters and 440 are used for voice, and 220 is used for packet. What they found is it's very difficult to operate packet on the same band that you operate voice because of the interference, right? The overload. You're on the same band. When that packet transmission transmits, it is really dense, has a lot of spurs because it's very, very dense. So that means they're trying to operate, let's say 146.52 on phone or something. It's very hard to hear a handy talking when that packet is going. And that packet during a disaster is constantly going, right? It's constantly going. So they found that the standard they developed was 2 meters for voice, 440 for voice. Let's leave 2 meters or 220 for packet. And that works out pretty well. You can transmit packet, and on a typical transceivers, it wouldn't interfere with if you're in a different band. You're pretty far off. But their requirement was interesting. Easy to erect. They were using typically the CXXX, that's a Comet tri-band antenna. They wanted it low cost, not at the $150 range. They wanted something in the $50 range. Good performance, not too big. They didn't want radials. They didn't want anything to put together much. They just wanted to throw in a van, one antenna. You can plug in a VHF, UHF 220 radio. It doesn't matter. It doesn't blow up. You don't have to, which means you don't have to label it. It's the VHF antenna. No lightning arrestor. And you probably, most of you folks know, J-poles are great. You don't need a lightning arrestor because it's a DC short. So don't ever think someone's going to convince you to buy a lightning arrestor on a DC shorted design like a J-pole. It's a DC short. It can't hold charge. A ground plane, a dipole, yes, that's an open circuit. So if there's a lightning close by, it can induce enough voltage, typically 30, 40 volts. If 30, 40 volts goes down your antenna into your front end, the typical radio won't hold up. And the only thing that burns out is usually the FET. I fixed a lot of these. Usually the front end burns out. You just replace the FET. Most of them are pretty easy to replace. So we don't need a lightning arrestor. We don't need radios. One antenna does all. It's not too long, 5 to 6 feet. So that was their basic requirement. And they said, they didn't pay me very much. Did they pay me at all? I forget. But they said, if you make one and we try it out and it's successful, we will buy literally thousands. They really have bought thousands. They really like it. You just throw it in their van, no radios, nothing to put together, just erect it, coax, done. So what I did was, look, well, that's an interesting problem. If you say you're going to bring thousands, you know me, I'm an engineer, but dollar signs opens my eyes. If it can make money for my group or myself, hey, I'll listen. So he says, well, if you can do it, we will literally buy thousands. So what do? I start looking up the literature. Who has made a tri-band antenna? 2 meters, 220, 440 all at once. Well, who has one? And here's what I found. John Harris, 1980, that's when the UV3, a lot of you guys might remember the UV3, Drake UV3 did a 2 meter, 220, 440, kind of base, probably not mobile, base radio, matched their TR7 line. I used to have one, except I sold it. Nice radio for the time. That antenna was for that. Now it suffers still the same problems as the single band VHF 2 meter J-pole at UHF. You still have the radiation pattern problem. But then there are other when Harris described this article, it was not commercialized. We'll show it to you. It's kind of hard to build. It works though. It does work. But again, when you come up with a problem like this, you look at the literature. So I read this, like, oh, that's a pretty clever idea, and I'll review it later. It's clever. There was a Comet CX333, so that's probably the most popular. And the Diamond X3200A is the same antenna, just one's put out by Comet, one's put out by Diamond. Back then it's $160, $175. It's more now. It's about 200 something now. I guess they weren't interested. FEMA was not interested in it. This uses traps, by the way. That's how it achieves the multiple bands. It uses traps. And the other interesting thing was Dave Mariotti. You guys may know him. He is in charge down in LA of the Kaiser network. They have also a multi-band problem. 2 meters, 220, 440. And the Kaiser buildings didn't want big antenna. So I found this in the literature. So I'll go through this pretty quickly. I was like, here are tri-band radios. There's a lot of, even more now. It's becoming pretty popular. They're not very expensive. Get them for $100, $120 in that range, $130. You've got the UV5 times 3, which looks like that standard Baofeng you get, except if you buy the tri-band one, it has also the third band. And I think that's overpriced now. You can get these for like $30, I think, if you look it up on eBay. We have them. They work fine. They work really well. So there's not a lack of radios anymore for 220. The Chinese and some of the Japanese have gotten into 220. Even though it's only a Canadian band and a US band, I think manufacturers found it's worth putting in 220 and, sell product. So when you review the dual band VHF, UHF antenna or any type of antenna, it's going to be rugged, easy to manufacture, good performance. One of the things, here's some basic rules. No off-the-shelf inductors or capacitors. They're not easily reproducible. So to make the antenna right, if it needs a 10 picofarad capacitor, forget it. Think of something else. You'll never be able to get that in a good manufacturing. And besides, if you look at, I'll give you an example. we have the Diamond X200. I bought a bunch of those. I opened them up. We were trying to dissect them in our class. Now, I bet you a lot of guys have it. It's a pretty standard antenna, the X200. It's got two ceramic capacitors in there for matching. A 6 picofarad one, and I believe the other one's a 10 picofarad. As an antenna designer, what the hell are they doing? You can't put, these are ceramic. You can see them, they're ceramic. A 6 picofarad capacitor in a UHF antenna? And I know you guys are a pretty smart group. You guys look pretty experienced. You know how to use a network analyzer. Put a 6 picofarad capacitor on a network analyzer and sweep it up to 500 megahertz. I mean, a ceramic cap is maybe good up to reliably 50 megahertz. They have two of them. So, you know, I'm sure they know better, but it's cheap. So in general, no capacitors. And if you guys look it up, you know, you look up a 6 picofarad capacitor, ceramic, look at the specs. It'll say plus or minus 10%, sometimes even 20%. And it's got temperature coefficients, NPOs. They'll vary over the map. So you can't use that for matching. You need something much more stable than that. And inductors, again, there's no point. Any inductor you need at these frequencies, you should be able to wind yourself very precisionally. You shouldn't have to get one off the shelf. So anyway, back to Stork. I tried all kinds of different configurations and I had to meet these requirements. Could you manufacture it? Can you manufacture it consistently? Can it perform? So you guys are probably familiar with this. I'm sure you guys have built a lot of these. This is the standard. I start out with the standard twin lead J-pole. That works really good, by the way. I've compared this to other configurations. I mean, there's a copper J, some disadvantages of this is a very simple twin lead. You got to use good twin lead, not the standard TV stuff, but some good. We special order ours from JSC wiring. But if you use good twin lead, you have a direct tap here. This configuration works very, very well, and we've compared it. It's excellent. Except that on the third harmonic at UHF, you have these lobes. It will resonate at UHF, but it won't have a very good pattern. This is the sky here, and this is Earth, and this is sea level. Unfortunately, with this configuration, which is a VHF configuration, it resonates at UHF, but it gives us four-leaf clover effect. So only about 25% of the energy actually goes in the horizon or in the level, the level plane. This is the sky, this is the Earth. So this is, an example. You sit here and your friend walks out, although handy-talkie. This is at sea level, right? It's sea level. And at UHF, that antenna only projects about 25% of the energy at sea level. 75% of it goes up into the sky. So you don't want that antenna for UHF. For VHF, it's okay, right? It's a vertical dipole. That's pretty good. That's about 2.1 dB gain over the isotrope. So you would like, in a dual band at least, for this lobe to look like this. And so we solved that. So that was my first solution. That. That's probably seen this. And I've given this talk before for you guys, right? I'm pretty sure. Right, Phil?
Yes.
Yeah, I gave you this talk on why this works. The reason, again, I'm not going to go through the details, but it's still the J-pole, but what you got to do, the reason why you get these lobes here is because at quarter wave, this is a quarter wave matching stub at the bottom, about 16.5 inches. And that's a three half wave for UHF because it's the third harmonic. So it matches, that matches. But the problem is that UHF, you would like to see about 11 to 12 inches here and get it cut off. At VHF, you want a half wave. At VHF, you want 37 to 38 inches. That's just right. So what happens when you feed a UHF signal in here? It matches because this is a 3 half wave matching stub at UHF. So the matching's fine. But it would like to see 12 inches here for a half wave, and it doesn't. So the current, it drives the current here just fine. But the problem is you get a half wave pattern here, a half wave, and it continues. And it continues out of phase. That's bad. It continues out of phase. That's why you get these lobes pointing up into the sky. So the solution I gave was this. What you need is a resonant quarter wave stub. You notice I didn't put a capacitor and an inductor in there. Theoretically, that should work. But to try to get that to work consistently at 450 megahertz, that is pretty challenging. So I want to come through with something that anyone can do. Well, it's a quarter wave coaxial stub. Turns out to be about 4.25 inches, 4.5 inches around there. If you short it here, and it's 4.25, 4.5 inches, it will be an open circuit there from the Smith chart. So at RF, it is an open at UHF. So it doesn't see this. That gives you a nice half-wave pattern. At VHF, well, that isn't resonant. VHF, it goes right through. That was our dual band principle. And we've sold that particular design probably 25,000, 25 to 30,000 these in the last 20 years. Very popular, pretty standard. A lot of clubs have built it. It's difficult to build. You got to have the right materials. In principle, this looks good. This is a half wave. This is a quarter wave. Yeah, okay, you can understand the principles. But as you engineers would probably know, to get it to actually work and work well and to work close to theory, that takes a lot of the sweat work. That's what my students don't realize. A principle is one thing you learn in school, with dipoles or whatever. But when you actually go and build one, you'll find that there's these little things you just didn't know, little imperfections that you have to correct for. So here, there's a lot of trimming and tuning on a network analyzer to make sure that this resonates both at a quarter and 3/2 wavelengths. The tap here, right? This is a short circuit, so that's a high impedance. 50 ohms is somewhere 1.25, 1.5 inches. You kind of have to find it. Luckily, you got nano VNAs to measure it. You can move this tap and say, there it is. And then try to find a best tap that's a low SWR for both VHF and UHF, and then you have it. But then you got to go up here. Then you got to tune the UHF one to make sure you have the UHF one trimmed just right. And then people ask, how do you know the length of that stub without fancy equipment? What you do is you get this antenna working at UHF. So you have this 3/2 stub working with 11, 12 inches working. Then you have to make the stub because the stub has to isolate the UHF. Actually, a very simple principle behind this. Make a stub. Start out at a little longer, 4.75 inches. Short it on the top. When you put the center conductor onto that tip, remember, this is a high impedance endpoint of the dipole, UHF. It's high impedance. That's got to be high impedance too. It's a quarter wave is high impedance. If it isn't, it will change the resonance. So you start out a little longer, 4.75 inch. You'll find that if you solder that tip on, it will lower the resonant frequency. Remember, you tune this without its thing, 445 megahertz, let's say. If that stub is exactly at 445, the way you could tell is when you solder that tip on, it shouldn't change or shouldn't change much, maybe a couple of hundred kilohertz. Then you know your stub is matching that half wave. Once you get that, you know it's isolating the UHF. Then, of course, at VHF, you just add this piece on. So that for VHF, the half wave would be 17 inches plus 4.25 plus 11.25. At UHF, all it electrically sees is this 11.25 because it isolates that. So that's basic review of the dual band. If you remember the talk I gave a couple of years ago. So how do you get this tri-band? How do you get from here? How do you add 220? So I thought about this, and here's an interesting way that Dwayne over at Southern California Kaiser, this would not be practical for you and I. It gets too expensive. He actually has multiple antennas, UHF 220, 440. They're commercial dipoles. He combines it into a duplexer or triplexer in this case, and then breaks it back down. So he needs two of these, both to combine and to split because he wanted to operate different radios. And these are pretty expensive. The one's made by Comet, that's $150. And you need, you need at least one to combine the antenna, and then you bring the coax down. So he has this single coax coming down, he splits it back up. In a lot of cases, you don't have to split it back up. It's going into tri-band radio. But, this would be quite expensive. He's got 3 antennas. He combines them with when a combiner coax comes down back to the radio. Not cheap. So that wasn't going to go with FEMA. And pretty hard to set up too, right? You got 3 dipoles sticking out. You want it nice and simple. So you look at the John Harris design. This is the 1980 QST one. Again, he had the UV3. He wanted the 3-band, 2 meters, 224, 40. And if you look at the UV3, it's got separate transceivers, so 3 separate inputs. What he did was this. He built a J-pole. You build like a 2-meter J-pole out of copper, just like this, like that. Like, I think I have a picture of one. Here. You build a copper J like this. His modification is the coax has to go through the inside of the copper pipe. Since it's already copper pipe, so it's kind of another version of a standard J-pole you soldered on the outside. Now he drills a hole in here so that he can run the coax inside the pipe. Center tap goes out, and then he has the ground that grounds on the pipe. So that's 2 meters. How do you make the 221? You go up the pipe again. You put another T connector where this is the 220 half wave. So this whole halfway from here to here is 2 meters. From here to here is 220. And he makes a little J again with a T. He drills a little hole. And he taps it, finds the center tap. And he runs the coax inside the pipe. So he's got the 220 line coming here. And again, he does that for 440. 440 again. Up here has halfway for 440. Quarter wave stub here. Drills a little hole. Moves the coax, taps it out here, and then runs the 440 down. So he's got 3 coaxial cables, 2 meters, 220, 440. I actually built one of these. Pretty hard to build. For yourself, it's okay. It's just a lot of work. And to tune it. And you can't easily tune it because you're dealing with real pipe. You got to saw it, basically. But it was an interesting article. Now, the thing you'll notice is this still suffers. You can't use... If you use the 2-meter one, at 2 meters, it's fine. You can't use it in the 440 because it suffers the same problem, right? The third harmonic. So then you must use the UHF one here. Interesting. I built it, and yeah, impressed. I was impressed. But I couldn't use this design. It was too clunky. It'd be really hard to build. All these T connectors, 3 elbows, and it would be a nightmare. Couldn't do it for $50. The copper alone would be worth $50 without the labor. So I looked at this problem. Pretty interesting problem. How do I add 220 into this antenna that already, the standard one that we had here? It's already pretty successful. This is 2013 they approached me. So we had already almost 10 years with this design. Pretty successful. I know it works. I know it's reliable. You put it under a PVC pipe. There's no radials. There's no lightning arresters. And again, we sell a lot because they work well. But how would you add 220 to it? And again, the good thing is the money at the end of the pot. We're talking 1,000 at $50. Isn't that $50,000 if you do the math? That opens my eyes at $50,000. So I spent a lot of time. I go, okay, so I want to kind of teach you how you approach these problems like this. It seems impossible. So I looked at it. I said, well, first of all, I think I better build a 220 J-pole. Dimensions is approximately this: 26 inches for the half wave, about 10 inches or 9 3/4 inches for the matching stub. And then you run a coax to your nano VNA. At the time, I didn't have a nano VNA, but an HP network analyzer, and you tune it. And you tune it so it works inside the pipe. And you say, okay, 220. How do I add this to that? Basically, that's the problem, right? I like this. It works. This works too, but they would like to add this physically to this single line feed, would like to fit it all in a PVC pipe, no radials. And you figure, Is that impossible? We did it. And oh, by the way, oh no, I guess I can forward you guys this video. One of my students wanted to see whether ChatGPT would come up with this design that I had, typing in tri-band antenna. It didn't come with saying, came in with 3 dipoles, and they'd say, how about tri-band antenna Ed Fong? This was Gemini, using Gemini. It created a pretty cool slideshow of this antenna. And you guys know how it works. So you tell me how smart Gemini was. Not bad. I mean, pretty clever. It didn't quite understand how it worked, but it intelligently picks pieces out of the article and out of the patents and has it has a dialogue with it. Hey, Chat GPT. I was telling my friend, like, sure, I'm glad we're not just graduating from college because if we're in big trouble. Luckily, I'm retired. But yeah, I'll send it to you guys. You guys can read it for yourself. It's completely Chat GPT generated tri-band antenna, finding tri-band antenna Ed Fong and what it comes through with. It's pretty interesting. And compared, you guys, I'm giving you this lecture here, but you actually understand how I'm explaining how we achieved it. It doesn't quite understand it. So it takes a little gibberish here and there, but it's in a work in progress, but it's very clever considering untouched by human hands. So anyway, the problem is here's the 220 dimensions. How do you get it into one coax? Get it within 5 or 6 feet. Get it within $50. And one thing Gemini said, Dr. Fong did the impossible. No, it was just, I'll show you what I did, right? And here's how I approached it. I said, well, how about, this is my first prototype, by the way. I have my antenna, 2-meter 220. Okay, we know that works. Make a J-pole out of copper. Remember, it has to hold up. A copper J-pole like this, just like the Harris design, 220. I stick the coax from the dual band through the copper tubing of the 220 antenna, right? Because it wouldn't interfere, right? That's a shield. And here's the 220. And this actually worked, which is good. And when you're trying to do research like this, well, what works? Well, this works. But it works electrically, but it doesn't meet the requirements of what they wanted. It's pretty tall, right? You're adding the 49 inches, the 36 inches. It would be pretty expensive to build. You basically have to build a copper J-pole at 220 first, then you attach our J-pole with PVC pipe onto this. It worked. I mean, pretty tall. This thing was really tall, 8 feet, 9 feet. Pretty expensive too. Again, you want to avoid copper because copper pipes and T connectors, elbows cost you a lot of money. But the idea is you make note of it, right? If you're doing research, you make note. This works, but we can't deliver it because it doesn't meet the cost and physical requirements. But electromagnetically, it works. That's really important. You don't consider that a failure. You consider that a step in progress. So the next thing I did was, that works. How else do I get resonance? I get resonance like this. I could put 12 inches out, 12 inches that way. That's for 220, a horizontal dipole. Does that work in a sense that does it disturb the matching, or if I balance it, the matching still holds? Surprisingly, the matching holds. When I did this, the matching for 2 meters, 440 holds. And the 220 holds. And the key there is it's got to be balanced. If you misbalance this, then you get havoc, you get currents and everything. If it's balanced, it'll hold out. And that's something I learned. As long as it's balanced, it'll hold out. But what does this not meet? That looks like, as far as FEMA will be concerned, doesn't that look like radials? It looks like radials. It's really the dipole part of the 220. But it wouldn't meet the requirements, radials. But it works, right? And it's horizontally polarized, not vertical. So there's several problems with this, that you couldn't sell this to FEMA. But again, another achievement. This works. This works. This works. That's good. They won't pay for it, but it works. If all else fails, we could sell it with a 220 horizontally polarized antenna, maybe. So then I said, well, how about, all right, the next guess would be, how far can I get away with bending this? How far can I go? Well, I did that. At some point, it doesn't work. At some point, if you get too close, the resonance starts going off and interact, because the maximum interaction is if these wires were in parallel. Then it'll really affect the resonance. See, when they're 90 degrees, it doesn't affect it, or shouldn't. Theoretically, it shouldn't at all. And it affects it so minimally that still works. That works to a point. And that was a good observation. At some point, it will not resonate and it throws everything off. Okay, so that wasn't a good idea. Again, you make a note of it. That doesn't work. So I was puzzled, by the way, for quite long. But you know, the $50, 1,000, that's 50,000. By the way, I think they've bought more. I haven't kept track of it. They've bought more than $50,000 worth of antennas over a 10-year period. And plus the ones I've sold, right? A lot of you folks have bought the tri-bands helping us out as for ham. Okay, where did I come up with this idea? I went back to physics. This is, by the way, if you guys had physics in college, you probably had Halliday and Resnick. That's the picture right out of Halliday and Resnick's college physics book, E&M. If you excite a coil symmetrically, and it's got it nice and round, the fields it emits look like this, right? They're 360 degrees around it. But in the center is the null space. Null space. What is the null space? It theoretically says you can excite this coil. It's kind of like a toroid. Toroid saying you got the null space right at the dead center because all the fields cancel. That you should be able to stick a wire through here, conductor, a non-conductor right in the middle, and it should not affect it at all. Ideally, it will not affect it. So I said, well, I don't have to be ideal. I just have to get the SWR, hams are happy with, 1.2, 1.3 to 1. I just got to get it to that. So that's exactly what I did. I started taking the 12 inches. So here's the dual band dipole. How am I doing with time? I'm still okay. Dual band dipole. Take the 12 inches and wrap the coil around for the hot, and then for the ground. It doesn't matter which one's just a dipole. And you won't get resonance just like that. It turns out, we played around with this a lot. Obviously, if you make the 12 inch, you're limited by 12 inches. If you make the coils really, really big, it's easy to get resonance because it kind of is away from the twin lead and the coax. But then if you make it like with 3 turns, it'd be 3 big discs. That's horizontally polarized. The polarization's too off. So you got to get enough coils in there vertically. So you get enough vertical polarization. This is like kind of like a rubber duck, right? In a sense. Same thing here. If you do it too tight, you can't get matching because that center conductor between the twin lead and the coax interferes with the field, right? If you get the coils too tight, you can't center that enough where it won't affect the resonance. It starts affecting the resonance. So it's like, I played around with this a lot. Didn't simulate it. I figured, well, at this point, just build it and just see where we're at. It turns out that about 6 or 7 turns, and these are about 3/4 inch, no, maybe a little bit, about 3/4 inch diameter, just about right where it doesn't interfere with the SWR and gives you a reasonable vertical polarization. And then you stick this into the PVC pipe, goes unnoticed, end cap, one connector, and voila, you have it. And if you simulate this, it's not bad. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think in terms of performance, it's that much worse. Where we really hurt is bandwidth. Boy, when you wrap something in a coil like that, it really narrows the bandwidth. So if you look at that, here, the bandwidth on 220 is pretty narrow. It's usable, but pretty narrow. But it met FEMA's requirements, you notice? by 225, 220. It's really going up quick. Right? If it gets 222, the band is 222, 225. It's still pretty good 222, but boy, by the time it gets to 225, it's pretty becoming unacceptable. So it's quite a bit narrower than these percentage wise, but it's functional. It's good enough. It will work. Luckily, the bandwidth at the 220 is only 222 to 225 now. If it was to 220 in the old days, no, it would be way off the map, above 1.5 to 1. And this, yeah, it would be pretty high. So it meets it's good enough. It meets the spec. And let's see. Oh, here's our lab. Oh, see here is my house. A lot of you folks have probably been to my house. See, it's sitting next to a Nano VNA. You got to get one of these. Nano VNA, $80 now. It works as good as our 5062, almost. The Nano VNA is so trustworthy to me. I hardly ever bring that out. I've got one in my lab in school and I got one at home. Only on really critical measurements, because you can bring a nano to where you want to measure. Here, you got to bring the measurement device to the antenna. That's just too much of a hassle. You can fit this in your pocket, which is great. And we still have one of these. It's 8753s. It's a non-microprocessor based network analyzer from early 2000s. Really heavy, but no, good workhorse. Let's see. That's it. Here's some references. And what else do I have to say? Oh, so if you guys are also interested in the USDX, I've got about 4 of these. I don't know if you guys know the background behind this. I teach a modulation class. We start with AM, FM single sideband IQ modulation. This is the radios they build and we test. And so if you want some, it's required to every student that takes the class to have one, but they're not all hams. So the non-hams, I tell them, look, don't worry about it. It's just a learning tool. I'll buy it back from you. The hams, I'll keep it because it's a really cool radio. So I've got maybe 4 if you guys need them. They're all tuned up, full power. I don't know how many of you guys have them, but if you guys have them, you probably have lots of fun with these things. It uses again, a switching RF amplifier, lasts you all weekend. I'll use mine at winter field day. It'll go all weekend. It's got built-in 4 ampere hour battery. Let's see, built-in CW decoder, built-in CW encoder, 80 through 10 meters, CW single sideband. It really weighs 12 ounces, by the way. It's really fun. And here's the insides of it. I think I gave a talk on this of how this works. Here's the output transistors, BS 170 FETs. No heat sink because it's a switcher and it's filtered. It's very cleverly designed. I didn't design it. It's Northern California QRP Club that worked on it. But we use it as a really good learning tool. Let's see. And then, again, I can give it to Phil or whoever, a spreadsheet if you guys want to buy these antennas, or a dual band one, or roll-up one, the tri-band one I'm talking about, the 2-element GMRS one, that we can also make it for ham band, obviously. And these are 20%, because I'm giving you a talk, I'll give it to you 20% off the web price. Okay, I'm done. Any questions? I'm welcome to questions.
That's very nice of you. I have the small transceiver myself. In fact, Carol and I did some testing on it in my backyard one day, which was fun. We really enjoy that radio. Yeah,
it's pretty.
Yes,
I can
USDX. Yeah,
I can backpack with it. It's 10 ounces. The batteries last forever, and you have to. It's got all the built-in. It's an SDR radio, so all the filters are built in up to what, a couple hundred hertz for CW. And for the money, it's lots of fun. I mean, I take it traveling. I go up to Boise, Idaho, because we have a cabin up there. But I set up my dipole, and I like the QRP kits dipole, $25. I throw it on a tree. I tell you, I talk all over the place with it. I know in winter field day, I tell my FARS group, I said, you guys don't believe I can make contacts. It's location, location, location. I invite them as I'll bring the hot dogs. I'll bring the food. They got a good campfire there. We'll set up an antenna. I'll show you what 5 watts can do when you got the location over a lake, 600 feet over a lake, dipole, any reasonable signal we can talk back to. So wait, so you have you actually used the radio on single sideband?
Dr. Fong, my name is Bill K6KRQ. I
Uh-huh.
was just wondering the name of that radio.
Oh, okay. It's a generic radio USDX, but it's the UXDX Plus. These guys that did the sports, there's a USDX and a bunch of versions. It's all the same schematic, but the different layout. Apparently, this is open source. We did not design this. This is open source. You got to be careful who you buy it from because people, it's by the Northern California QRP Club. They made it open source so people copy it and the components they put in, you got to be careful. Uh, but I have my group, my students do it because it's a really good learning exercise. It generates single sideband with no filters, not like the conventional way. They do it through I and Q, in phase and quadrature mixing and all this. And it does a pretty good job. I guess I give a talk on this. I gave a talk to you guys on it already. But if you want, I've got about 4 of them, I think 4. But every time I teach the class, I end up with a few extra because not all my students are hams. A lot of them become hams. But they're not ham. So I said, don't worry about it. I know you have to go out and spend $150 to get this kit, but I will buy it back from you. That's where I get the extras. And they're all tested out and make sure they all work. So I think I've got 4 right now if left that people want. But it's a really, I love it. I do CW on it. And it's CW. Hey, in my case of CW, this is my theory on CW. This is why I love CW. Even with 5 watts, basically with a good dipole antenna, if you can hear them, you can work them on CW because it's narrow band. Sideband, not the case. Sideband, you got to have a good location, good antenna. But CW, if you can hear them, you can work them. That's my philosophy. You don't need much power. So any questions? Yeah,
More questions?
sure.
Who has more questions? I know there's interest in your antennas and maybe the transceiver. So if you can send the information to Phil.
Sure.
and then
Yeah,
can
what I'll do
share-
is I'll send a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You guys can fill it out. And the transceivers, I've got about 4. So that's not like an unlimited amount. So they're already built, already with the batteries, with the mic, ready to go. And it's been tested. Everyone has been tested by me and graded. It's gone through me, tested and graded. It's just that the students didn't want them.
That's excellent. No, that's great. I think that.
Well, a lot of times people take my classes, they're in other majors and they need a course. They need a course in their major for minor or something. And I think the rumor has it that if you want something outside your major and you need credits for it, take Ed Fong's class. He's pretty easygoing and it's pretty fun. I think the rumor's out.
That's not what my students say about my classes. But
Oh, where do you teach?
I teach environmental law and
Ooh.
policy.
Ooh.
Policy.
That means they hate you.
Here.
Ed, are you going to have antennas at Pacificon this year?
I'm going to try if I can make enough. Yeah, if I can make enough. The only problem is when I sell antennas at Pacificon, I don't get to go to the talks. That right? Because I'm at the booth. Hey, were you at Pacificon last year?
Oh, absolutely. I have one of your tri-band antennas and a dual band antenna also.
Did you? Oh, hang on to the mic. Hang on. Did you attend the antenna seminar?
Not this year.
Okay. Who attended in that group? Who attended the antenna seminar in that group? Raise your hands. But quite a few.
We have a handful of people raising their hands.
Okay. I want to ask,
including Phil.
Oh, I don't need
Yeah,
Phil's opinion, but someone
I was
else's.
there, and I was very proud when you told me how many antennas you sold this year. You had a pretty good year.
Oh yeah. I usually bring about $5,000 worth. So that's really good. In one day they pull in $5,000. It's really, really helpful for you guys. You guys really help us out.
But as usual, the antenna session was great. It's my favorite part of Pacificon. And I want to thank you for taking the time to entertain this group and provide them with truly meaningful information.
But what I want to ask is the guys that attended the antenna seminar, the talk I gave, was that above your head or was it useful?
It made sense to me, but that doesn't
Because
necessarily
I didn't
mean
get too
that,
many
but
opinions back from folks. Like, a couple,
maybe I just thought I understood.
but let me, can I ask, if you don't mind, just one last question? So one of the guys that rose up their hands when you attended that, did you understand it? Was it at the level that you can kind of appreciate how that was done? Is that person going to speak?
He was muted.
Okay,
But
okay,
there we go. Okay.
yeah,
Ed,
yeah.
I'm a pretty new ham, so it was pretty much over my head, but I'm learning as
Okay.
I go.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty advanced. I mean, that's really recent stuff that we've done. But again, it's the responsibility of why you have a nano VNA, these small little oscilloscopes, the spectrum analyzer at 5 gigs. It's all because of that explanation of how that amplifier worked. Um, major, major breakthrough. Like what I said, it's in our field, that's as good as sliced bread. It was amazing. I didn't do it, but I just thought it was amazing.
Let me see if there are any questions
Yeah,
from
yeah,
folks
questions.
on Zoom. Anybody on
Absolutely.
Zoom have a question? I think there
No
may be
Zoom? Come
some
on, Rick.
comments.
You gotta ask about something.
Yeah,
Tony?
we got a couple of chats here. Jake Can 6YFK says, fantastic presentation. Thank you, Dr. Fong. And Kiko Delta Victor 1 Kilo over in the Philippines says, very nice antenna, always on my backpack. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Okay, well then I'm gonna send you guys a spreadsheet. Take your time
Thank,
and you
thank
guys
you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you at Pacificon and other places.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
they've asked me again to give a talk on something, and I'm trying to think. I am giving a talk this month at FARS because we find the reason why I have to speak is we can't find guest speakers is the problem. We have Steve Stearns. Yeah, our default is if we can't find someone, Steve Stearns gets up there. And you guys know Steve Stearns, right? Everybody falls asleep.
Some of us do.
Yeah. So I'm giving a talk, believe it or not, maybe I can give it to you guys. It is the history behind almost step-by-step conversations of how we developed the first synthesized 2-meter handheld.
Well, that would be interesting.
Are you guys old enough? Are you guys old enough to remember what is the first 2-meter synthesized handheld? Does anyone know?
I'm thinking of Radio Shack, realistic.
No. Hang on. I'll show you a picture, see if it, I'll show you one, see if it brings back.
All
any-
right, show
Hang
it.
on, hang on, hang on, just hang on.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're
2AT.
Carl, what did you say?
The Icom 2AT with little thumb wheels on the top.
Oh, well, let's see what he comes back with. Yeah. You guys don't know?
Okay.
All right.
You gotta be 70 years or older here. Does that look familiar?
Kenwood TH21.
No, 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 no.
No, that's what it looks like. What is it, Dr. Fong?
You guys don't remember Tempo S1. Henry Radio Tempo S1. Remember that?
I am way too young to remember that.
Too young. Okay. I'm not.
Well, there's several the people here who, anybody remember that radio?
Yeah.
Oh, Carol does. KP4MD.
Oh, Carol, you ever have one, Carol?
She says no, she never had one.
Maybe I can send you one now.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to give a talk on it because I've run out of things to talk about.
They'll
I
come
was
back. They'll come. That'll be a very well. Once you're ready to come back to our group, we'd be interested in hearing that.
the only thing is
Yeah.
it's a good live talk, not because I actually show how it works. I show in a milliamp,
Oh, yeah.
how much current it draws. The
Okay.
reason why I can talk about it was I'll tell you the whole story, not now. I was really, really fortunate at 23 years old. 23 years old. My advisor, and some of you engineers would know him, Bob Meyer. I was a PhD student at the time. He said, Ed, you're a ham. I got this guy calling me from AOR Electronics. His name was Apple, a Japanese APPO. He says, call him. He needs a technician, really just a technician. I mean, I didn't know enough about advanced circuits. So I got to work on the PLL to broaden the bandwidth and to lock it. And it went into this. So I know the circuitry back and forth is the history behind it, because I knew the guys that designed the radio part of it. It's Varactor tuned, which you don't see today. Varactor tuned. So I'm going to give a talk on it, and then also, it came from the. Okay, are you guys old enough to remember what a Motorola HT220 is? That, Tony, you know, right?
I'm looking. No, mostly no. Anybody?
Tony, did you
We're
have
all
one?
I had one.
Great radio, right?
Yeah, I do have the Tempo still, but I had one. Yes,
Did you get rid of it? Did you sell yours or what?
I threw it away when I moved from Wisconsin to California.
You know what those are worth now? A Motorola HT220 in working condition?
Uh,
About $200 to $300. If you had one, I would buy it off you. So there's a big story behind that, the Motorola HT220, how this kind of looks like one. And anyway, it's a whole interesting story. I'm trying to build up. I'm going to present it to our club, mainly because I just run out of ideas. I thought, well, that's interesting. People would know how step by step how we did it and all the struggles and the schematics and all that, the locking problems I had with it and all that. So anyway, that's a future talk.
Well, Dr. Fong, thank you
Sure,
so
you're very
much
welcome.
for your presentation. And we look forward, can you send the presentation as well
Oh,
to,
sure, of course.
to Phil, and we post
Yeah.
all this on our website.
Yeah, of course,
So
you're
thank
welcome
you.
to post it. If I was young, people say you copyright some of their stuff. I go, of course not. Just if people can use it, people can use my videos. Go ahead, right?
We appreciate
Not
that.
going to bother
Thank you.
me.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and I do pass by your town every now and then, but you're
Thank you.
2-3 hours. Okay, you guys have a good evening.
Thanks
a
Thank
lot.
you, Dr. Fong.
Thank
Carol, and I'll
you.
see you, all you guys. See you guys at Pacificon. Say hello. Drop by my booth.
We will. Okay.
So I
Thank
stop
you very
sharing.
much.
Yep, you're very welcome. Goodbye. How do I do this here?
Bye.
And
Phil
then-
said, thanks, Ed.
Sure. Okay. Now, how do I log off this thing? I don't know. how to-
You should, on the bottom right, there's a exit.
Yeah, here, got it.
button, a
Okay.
red. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's take a 5-minute break. Okay, 3 minutes? 3 minutes, 3-minute stretch break, like 6th grade.
They did an update of the program, and it doesn't show our own speakers with the other speakers for some reason. I don't know. Anyway. Weird. Yeah, bon appetit. He was a pediatrician. 21st is my birthday. That's right. Yeah. Anyway, she immediately a lot of kids away. He was, the sister came in with tears. That's what we find. I think she's been talking. We go. Yeah. Recognize the voice. Yes. They bonded, they like this. But here's something that was very interesting. Yep. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and all that.
And I don't have anything, I'm not sure where you put that in. Okay.
Get back.
And don't forget, I don't think anybody's.
You want to start with
Why
this?
don't you do it? Yeah, let's start. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, we're normally going to go with Sylvia's report, right? And then the web. Okay. Then we can go into this, unless you want to do this first. Okay, let's do this first.
I'll have you do it.
Absolutely, I'll take care of that.
Is there anybody in the room?
Anybody here is a technician? I think so.
Well, the thing is,
Oh, okay.
see, that's why we're under limited time. He didn't notice after I put out
Yeah.
so-called bullet.
Okay.
So, I mean, you have the information.
Well, yeah, I don't have it in the slideshow. So
If you want to just publish it with when
we'll do that.
All right. So, therefore, I want you to what it is you want to know. So you're going to get up, you're going to end up to guys over.
Well, I have a kitchen table. And big all sorts of stuff on it. Knock it, flip it up. And
well, you don't need to tell me all.
I'm stuck.
And I was, I need to wait until the board meeting. 13. Then get a room together. Kim Scheidel. Kim. So you know what the where it's coming from. Yeah. You had said you wanted help though. We don't do floors or dishes. We do floors or dishes.
Well, we get the table.
Now you might want to think about this for the board meeting. Mention what it is you want done. I don't want to dedicate a half hour to what you want done because I have a whole agenda. It's like I do every month.
Well, part of it. What I can do.
All right. Break is over. Let's do introductions, starting with the folks on Zoom. Let's start with Carl, N6 CKV.
Good evening, everyone from Wilton. It's Carl, N6CKV, and it's sunny.
And that was Daryl.
Yeah, this is Daryl, KM6KFW, coming in to you from the Philippines. And I actually saw Kiko Santos also. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, there's two of us from the Philippines that I saw on Zoom here this morning. So, international meeting this morning.
Well, we're so glad that you joined us, and we miss hearing you locally on the air. When are you coming back?
The end of January, so still got a few more weeks here.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you and making this an international adventure. Thank you very much. Let's see. Rick, can you change the tile so they all stay the same side? Thanks. Rick, KM6.
Good evening. This is Rick, KM6MZY. I very much enjoyed Ed Fong's lecture tonight.
Great, Rick. I'm glad you joined us. Osatama.
Yeah, this is Osatama, KM6CTP. And a side note, I did work for Henry Radio in the summer of 1971 on their first solid state radio that they built was a 10 megahertz transceiver. And my job was to write the test procedures. And I
That's
think
amazing.
this radio that Ed Fong was talking about came after that, or kind of at the tail end of that summer.
That's really great background, Osatama. Let's see, who is Tony, KE6.
Good afternoon, or evening rather. And this is Tony KE6IJF out of Folsom.
Good to see you, Tony. And who is on the Samsung SMT733? They're in with us. Okay. And let's see, who have we not got? Mike, N1YCN.
Yeah, good evening, all. This is Mike, N1YCN. I'm in the Elk Grove, Laguna West, and I just want to comment on Ed Fong's antennas. I have a GMRS, I have the 220, and I have the tri-bander, and I love them all. So, but it was enjoyable watching his presentation, and I learned more too, obviously. But anyway, back to you there, James.
Thanks, Mike. Let's see, there's Carol. Kayla is here. Mike Allen. No, Michelle. Is that Michelle or Michael Allen?
That's Michelle Allen. It isn't really Michelle Allen. This is Richard, Whiskey Bravo 6, Bravo, India, Tango, down in Clarksburg. And my daughter was using my computer, and I think she changed the name on it.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Kiko, I know you're also in the Philippines.
Hi, good evening to there. Your club. Just invited also by Dave and actually Daryl. How are you there? We're all both in the Philippines. It's actually 12:10 here. 12:10 at 12:17 p.m. lunchtime. Nice to attend your meeting.
Thanks. We're glad you joined us. And Jake, KN6YFK. Bill, N6EF.
Good evening, all. It's Bill, N6EF in Elk Grove.
Hey, Bill, thanks for joining us. And Sylvia's in the room. Is that everybody on Zoom? Okay. So let's start with Gert.
Hello, everybody. It's Gert, Kilo 6, Zulu Golf Alpha, Secretary, etc.
Hi, good evening. Neil, Kilo Lima 7 Hotel, Quebec Romeo, a member of the board.
I'm Bob, November 6, Papa Golf, Quebec. I'm also a member of the board.
I'm Mike, Kilo 7 Golf, Foxtrot Mike.
I'm Phil, KD6RM. And by the way, for those of us in present person, Gert's still selling tickets if you'd like to buy some tickets.
I'm Bob, Kilo Foxtrot 6 Alpha Bravo Charlie. I'm not in any boards, although I've been invited, and I said, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do it either.
This is Jim, Kilo Foxtrot 6, Juliet Foxtrot.
I'm Ken, Kilo Echo 6, Romeo Michael November, editor.
Hang on a second, Ken. We have folks back here.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I don't have any call letters yet. And I'm a guest of Carol's. Yeah, and the college physics was coming back to me there, although I didn't remember the coil diagram. Too much time has passed.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm Carol's guest as well. I do not have any call letters, and I didn't take physics in college, so it was all Greek to me.
I'm Sylvia, Kilo Sierra 6, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I am your club treasurer and a voting board member.
Yeah, okay, now Ken Wilson. Okay.
All right, it's Wilson, November 6th, Echo Mike Foxtrot, board member of the club. And I could agree with Ed. I have an electrical engineering background, and the more you think you know, the more you find out, you're still learning.
I'm Glenn, KM6RGQ.
I'm the second Glenn, Kilo Oscar 6, Lima Golf Papa.
Okay, hang on.
Gary, Kilo Golf 6, Sierra Mike X-Ray.
David, Kilo Echo 7, Echo Lima, Citrus Heights.
Hi there, I'm Hank, Kilo 6 Hotel Uniform Hotel.
And I'm Dave, Kilo 6, Mike Victor Juliet. And I'm glad to see both friends, Daryl and Kiko. Kiko is probably one of the best known hams in all of the Philippines and around the world with the Pinoy net, Pinoy Link net, which which Jojo introduced me to. I participate, and anybody is invited to participate Saturday afternoons at 4:30 our time.
All right, thanks, Dave. Okay, any comments or, oh, no, not this table. The North Hills Radio Club table.
Hey, I'm Bill, K6KRQ.
Alan, Kilo 6, Alpha Golf Whiskey, President, North Hills Radio Club.
And member of River City Art.
My name is Walter, Kilo 6 Hotel Tango Delta. I'm the roof crawler and antenna repairman.
Amazing.
I'm Tom, Whiskey 6, and they used to say Big Signal. I do the 10-meter nets on Wednesdays.
And I'm Dudley, Kilo Oscar 6, Delta Romeo Mike.
All right, thank you. One of the other things that Tom does is help this treasurer. Okay. What good? Oh.
Kayla, KA6YLA.
And I'm Carol, Kilo Pop 4 Mike Delta, currently Vice President of the club, and also your ARL Vice Director for the Pacific Division.
And you're going back to Newington soon, right?
Yes,
So you're
we have
looking.
a board meeting next week.
All right. And you want ideas to talk about?
Yeah, you can email those to me.
Email those there. Okay, before Carol and Sylvia give their presentations, I asked Carol to make a short presentation.
Yeah, we have some unfinished business from our last meeting, which was our holiday dinner, where we had a presentation of the the Lilo Frank Recognition Award. And this year we had so many really good nominees and that the voting was very, very close. And we decided to go ahead and to issue certificates of appreciation for others who were also nominated for that prestigious award, because so many people have really stood out and done some outstanding work for the club and for the amateur radio community. And I'd like to present this certificate of appreciation from the River City ARCS to Neil Gimenes, KL7HQR, in grateful appreciation of your enthusiastic efforts elmering local area amateurs. Thank you so much, Neil.
Thank you, Neil.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I have a feeling part of the reason I received this is the effort that we've been doing as a team in Elmer. And I would like to say that this would not have been possible without Walter and hold the door. He is the roof caller, and he is the
Walter got one
well,
too.
very well.
Yeah.
Sylvia. Yeah.
All right. So now for the treasurer's report. Yeah.
So I'd like to take a picture. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were gonna need Carol. you want me to give them? I was going to put it on the screen. It's here somewhere. I did bring it up. I can make it really huge.
Sylvia, going to share your screen? Okay.
All right. So we've been getting quite a few renewals. Thank you so much. Sorry, we've been getting quite a few renewals. Thank you for being on top of that. I cut off the finances yesterday and the renewals this afternoon. So there's a little wiggle room in there. If you renewed after about 3, you don't show up on the list as active. You're in limbo land. So, but they've been coming a few every hour, it seems like, the last few days. So we have 83 people that are active that have renewed for 2026 and less than 64 expiring soon because some of you renewed after 3 o'clock. We have one new member, Ben Reese. If you're here, welcome to the club. Is Ben Reese here? Nope. Okay. We've been getting some repeater fund donations. Thank you so much. Lawrence Upjohn and David Minke donate every month. They really do the evergreen type donation, which we're still figuring out how to do that. Although we're not. It's fine. It's great. And also we had Michael Carney, John Kim, and Michelle Kim all contributed to the repeater fund donations in the last month. So the financial report is of Monday. So we have a total of $10,455.12 in the bank as today. So $4,013.23 is earmarked for the repeater fund. And the general fund is less than $6,441.89. So that's what's in the bank today. There are still some things that have been just written today against that. So for upcoming payments, we still have the reimbursement for the engraving and the reimbursement to me for the holiday party door prizes. And then as was mentioned, that we have the meeting space is $700, and that'll be paid next month too. As also, now I can't see it because it's too big. As was mentioned, the repeater committee and the board are discussing the repeater costs. So as was said, more info will follow. We are really happy with the new coverage. So, and then I still have to get together and go through the accounting procedures and make improvements. And it's definitely going to happen this month because it needs to starting today. So that's been my focus. And then the details of the finances are, on the sheet. I didn't give a, report to the board because of everything that happened in December. So I included a little bit more information than I normally would for the general membership. But, so we had, membership dues coming in to the tune of $1,000, which is actually, it's actually a lot more than that now. It's, so this was as of, it was, so the membership dues come in through PayPal, and PayPal got transferred a couple days ago. There's several hundred more dollars in the PayPal account now, which I'll have transferred over before February 1st. The repeater, we had $218 in repeater contributions, and just our general Google expenses. And we did have a $20 cash donation to the general fund also. So that's about it, unless anyone has any questions. And I'm taking cash and checks and whatever here if you want to renew your membership that way. Yeah. What? I know how you are current. All right. Well, let me show you. I'm assuming that you're doing this for show, Bob. Not. Sure not.
And we're always open for new members, of course. The dues are $20. If you have a family member, it's just an extra $10, right? For a
Yeah.
family member. And if you're a full-time student, it's only $5.
Sorry, I'm trying to do this with my hand, one hand and fingers. I'm going to put the mic down for a second. I make a noise.
So while Sylvia is doing that, so we're using Ham Club Online now for member management. Some of you might have even gotten some automatically generated emails reminding you that the membership is a calendar year membership, January 1st through December 31st. You might have gotten that even though you just paid or you're current. That was a general reminder. It should have had something on it that said ignore if you've already paid. And so so if you've already paid, ignore that. But the dues are helpful. Go ahead, Sylvia.
I'm sorry. So this is what our webpage looks like up here. And if you scroll down, you can always send me an email and I will check. I don't look at my email. I look at my email usually once a day. Since I retired, I try not to look at it more than that. So right here in red, it says click to see members list. So if you click on that, this is the members list. And over here, which you can't see because it looks so small, it gives you the date it was updated. So this was updated 1/6/2026. So let's see if this works. Control find.
You can also go into your Ham Club Online account. In fact, more and more clubs are using it. So I have 3 or 4 clubs that manage all my membership through Ham Club Online. So Sierra Foothills, River City ARCS, W6SFM, I think, the Morse Code Club. I'm encouraging the president of North Hills to use Ham Club Online.
I sent him a exploding head emoji thing today, so
Oh, that'll.
he might not be so inclined. But there is a Mark E. Woodward who is expiring soon.
But you can check in your own account where you are. Just log into your own account. You can check. It is a good program, and it's only we pay $1 per head a year, so it costs us about $150 to the developers who maintain it. It's really hard to beat that price. Okay, anything else, Sylvia? Oh, there,
No.
yeah.
So this is the Ham Club Online.
Yeah, that's your page.
This is my page.
Right.
So I'm active. I have, it says for this year, yeah, mine is kind of unremarkable. It has Tom here as a relationship because he's on the family relationship part. Because it turns out I pay all the bills, so.
Did you know that? All right, anything else for Sylvia? Any questions about the treasurer's report? Thank you. All right, let's hear from Carol.
Okay, hi. Just want to put a shout out there to Kathy and Steve. It's great seeing you here. Thanks for joining us. Those are friends of mine from outside, and they're not licensed, and they're interested in amateur radio now. So, yes, let's see. Maybe you can get. Yeah, you can join, and we can steer you towards some. There we go. I think. Okay, I'm going to give just a report on the, pretty much it's an update on the web resources. And okay, just again, Happy New Year. And just some updates about some of the club activities and events that have gone on. First of all, I want to mention Bob Hicks. Some of you may have known Bob Hicks. He really passed away. He was a longtime member of the River City ARCS. He started into radio as a radio repairman at McClellan Air Force Base many years ago, and that's where he got into amateur radio, and he continued as a lifelong radio amateur. He enjoyed operating Morse code, CW, and also talking all around the world, what we call DXing. He assisted emergency communications as a member of the FEMA emergency response team. This Friday, January 9th at Auburn Public Cemetery at 1 p.m. if anybody would like to go there and show support for the family. And any of you remember him? K6 Victor Sierra. Years ago, he was quite regularly active and used to come to our meetings, but I don't think he's been very well health-wise since then. Jim Heath. I know a lot of you know about Jim Heath. He passed away December 23rd, W6LG. He was first licensed at the age of 14, WN6JZC in 1963. And he upgraded to amateur extra in 1980. That was back then when you needed Morse code. That's when I upgraded as well. And he's a life member of the American Radio Relay League and the Quarter Century Wireless Association. Lifelong DX operator, talked all around the world. He was a founder and proprietor of High Sierra Antennas up in where he fell off his roof and he injured his back really bad. And his wife took over the business for a while, but then he finally completely retired in 2015, moved from Grass Valley down to Rockland. And he became a prolific YouTuber, mentor. He has over 300 videos posted on his channel, and he has over 53,000 subscribers. And there's his YouTube link. It's on there. And tremendous guy. I really, really just loved him. He was great. And there's a picture of him when he was 15 years old. Yeah. And that's a copy of his license. Can you imagine that? He had a general class license. For that, you needed to have 13 words per minute Morse code and pretty much the same difficulty test that you have now for the general level class license. Amazing. Very, very intelligent young man. January in radio history, the first telegraph demonstration was given by Samuel Morse in January 6th, that's today, in 1838. Of course, that didn't have to do, that wasn't radio back then, that was electrical over wires. But Morse code was very important because it was the first means of transmission that we had in radio as well. And that was the first public demonstration. Later in 1844 is when they established the first wire between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. with federal funds. And that's when you heard that first message that was sent by Morse code was, "What hath God wrought?" You probably heard about that. And another radio history thing in January was in January 1924, Mr. Gerald Marcuse, G2NM, reported the first amateur radio contact between the United Kingdom and the west coast of the United States, which was a great accomplishment back in 1924. Reminder that those of you who are members of the American Radio Relay League, look at your QST. This is the monthly journal that you get as a benefit of your membership. Great articles in there. 2026, of course, is the American Radio Relay League's Year of the Club. Number of really good articles in there. Also, the ARL America 250 Worked All States Award. Look at that. This is a brand new award for this year. And it's, I call it the quintessential semi-quincentennial award. Quintessential, okay. So it's going to be all year long. Operating award to contact stations in all 50 states. You have to, you could either, well, there's several different levels of endorsements. You can contact the W1AW portable stations. That's the headquarters station in Newington, Connecticut. It's going to have portable operations all around in 50 states. Also affiliated club stations in all 50 states. So we as a club can participate that way as an affiliated club. And then there's a triple play, contact all 50 states on Morse code, voice, and on digital. So there's your challenges. So go at it, you people are into awards. January contests, there are a few. This past weekend, the radio teletype roundup was. This coming weekend is the North American QSO Party, Morse code. And the following weekend is going to be the North American QSO Party single sideband, that's voice. And these are contests where people get on and they make as many contacts as they want. There's a bunch of activity on the weekends. Some people enjoy doing that sort of thing. There's also the VHF contest for those who are into VHF communications that same weekend. And then the final weekend, the 24th, 25th, it's a CQ, not CW, sorry, CQ 160-meter contest on Morse code. And also Winter Field Day, which, how many of you are going to be doing Winter Field Day? Well, look at that. It's the intrepid group that likes to go out and do POTA, Parks on the Air. Are you going to be combining that with the Park on the Air for the Winter Field Day? Oh, yeah, Beals Point, you said. Go ahead.
Beals Point at the campground, not the public portion. And anybody who wants to come out is welcome to. We're pretty chock-a-block full on operating stations, but I think you'll find members willing to share their station. We need some CW operators too, so come out. It's 24th and 25th, primarily Saturday the 24th.
Walk around, you're gonna probably see antennas, people.
Okay, thank you very much. And again, for more information about contests, you can always go to the website, which is contestcalendar.com. Reminder that our website is n6na.org. I don't know how I can get this.
Carol, the
Yeah.
two
Yes.
dates is because it's UTC.
Oh,
the
okay.
contest starts at, if I believe correctly, 10 o'clock in the morning, goes till 10 at night.
Oh, that's the
Our ti-
Winterfield
our
Day?
ti- No, the QSO party.
Oh, the QSO parties. Okay. The 24-hour contest. No?
12 hour.
12 hours. Oh, okay. Got you. 12 hours. Thank you. Y- no. Our website, n6na.org, we try to keep this updated with all the latest information about the club and also amateur radio in the community. A reminder again about membership dues are now due for the calendar year 2026. And there's some coming events. We have our breakfast at Brookfields on Madison Avenue on the 17th. It's always the third Saturday of the month at 8:30. And then we have another breakfast on the fourth Saturday at 8:30, and that's at the Brookfields on Folsom Boulevard in Rancho Cordova. So just to keep that in mind. Again, the next meeting, February 3rd, will be Ben Parrish, K6GEO, talking about Meshtastic. I know Bob Mix is still doing the Do-It-Yourself Radio Builders Group strip board soldering workshop, and there's some encore sessions that are pending.
Encore sessions, yes.
Yes.
So I think we're aiming towards the 31st, but I think Bob's going to send a note out to the students. He'll poll the students 24th or the 31st.
Okay. That's where people want to learn how to solder on these boards. It's really a lot of fun. Actually, I have a little project I'm going to show in the show and tell at the end here. We had 214 check-ins in our nets for this month. Is that another comment there?
Quartzfest also is coming up.
Oh, Quartzfest. Okay.
I think it's the 11th through the 24th.
It's here in January?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a gathering. It's a RRL sponsored.
It's like a convention. It's not
Convention.
really an on-the-air activity. Okay. Yeah.
In Arizona at Quartzsite, roughly 500 people show up in RVs and campers, and we have talks every day. It's fun.
Okay, thank you
It's
for
the
the
amateur radio of the Burning Man Festival.
yes, but we burned the antenna at the end of it,
Burn
right?
the antenna.
Again, we have nets every week where people get on the air and check in, and we had 214 total check-ins in the month of December. So we're going good and strong on those nets there. Reminder that our backup repeater net's going to be January 21st. This is where we check our emergency powered repeater that's on the west side of the valley. The website activity for the month of December, we had 751 total page views. Most of them were on December 3rd. Homepage was the major hit, and then the web SDR page, a repeater page, nets page, and this other project page, the Tuna TNS, is pretty popular. Most of our hits come from search engines, and then that's 50%, and then 40% are direct hits to our n6na.org. And most of our visits also come from the United States. We have a few from China, Canada, and other countries from all around the world like to visit our website. Our YouTube channel now has 646 subscribers, and we've had 852 views of our videos. And we have a good number of videos up there, so you can check those out. We have 1,170 followers on Facebook page, and we're also active. We have a presence on Twitter and Discord. And again, please send any emails that you want to us. We will respond to you if you send it to contact@n6na.org. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Any questions for Carol's report? I know we have a couple show and tells before we end tonight, and we want to do the giveaway. So, Carol, do you want to do yours first? Who else has a show and tell? Phil? And KL7 High Quality Radio would like to say something about it.
Yeah, on the Elmering project, we have a few things pending. Walter, one thing that we need to talk about, we have a request for a return to Richard on the antenna that we put up. So we'll talk offline. We also have another contact with Stevens, but that's for grounding. Talk to Mark about that. But the one thing that I want to talk about is there is a new pending one. We have a request for assistance in operation of an FT 817 transceiver, which I'm not familiar with. So is there anybody else who knows? Oh, Wilson, have you addressed that? Okay. Okay. Well, well, thank you so much for addressing. If you need anything from the rest of the group, let me know, and I'll coordinate that. Yeah. It looks like go from VHF all the way through AHF, and it's anyway. Thank you for looking into that. Keep me informed on how that goes. Okay. Thank you. That's about it.
All right. You have a microphone? Oh, okay.
We're doing our show and tells, huh?
Yes.
Okay, well, I do have one that I actually have a little slideshow to go with this to show what we did. Let me pull that up. Okay, this is what you're seeing right here. It's a Morse code flasher beacon. And there it is. This is fun. Okay, what this is about is Bob, N6PGQ, is going to be having a little operating event over at his home this coming weekend. And he said, wouldn't it be fun if he was able to put some kind of a beacon light on top of his mailbox, so that when people come down the street, they know exactly where he's located, and it'll be flashing his call sign. And I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. This box that you see on the left is what we call a Fox transmitter that we built about 10 years ago, and we've used on several hidden transmitter hunts, where it's a transmitter inside that puts out a low power signal in Morse code, and we built the Morse code part of it. It was a project that both Kevin Hook, KK6DCT, and myself worked on. He was president of the club back then. He's since moved to the United Kingdom, but I'm not going to take full credit for what he did, because he's quite a wizard when it comes to computers. We got this book, which was called the Arduino Ham Cookbook. It's an ARL publication. Projects using an Arduino, which is a little microcontroller board that goes for like about $10 or so. And you could build all kind of projects with that. And one of the projects in there was a Morse code encoder that would be like sending out Morse code over and over. So I asked him to help me with that, and to be able to do we did a flow chart here that I'm not going to go into all the details, but this just says it's going to read a line of text, it's going to go each character, and it's going to figure out if it's sending a dash or a dot, and it does everything in sequence, and it goes over and over and over. And that's what microcontrollers are really good at. So we went ahead and this is the original Arduino Uno back from 10 years ago, connected to a little piezo buzzer. And let me see if this might play. You might be able to hear it. This was our first test with it. It's very loud, I know. I'm going to go ahead and but you see, it did work. It was sending out a tone, and And, and then what we did was we transferred it into the box with the transmitter. This is an old surplus, what they call the sonobuoy. It's a board that was used by the military and it was put into these underwater hydrophones that were dropped into the ocean to listen for submarines back during the Cold War. And there were a number of these that were out on the surplus market. And I bought this one back in 1970 when I was a teenager. It's a transmitter that works in the 2-meter band. It was actually originally 160 megahertz, and we modified it to get onto our frequency. And then we stuck the Arduino in here. And there's the little battery running it, and there's a little handheld radio. So you were testing it, and you'll be able to hear it now. If I play it, you should be able to hear it.
Here's a test of the Sonobuoy Fox transmitter.
Okay, some of you may recognize that if you've participated in some of our Fox hunts using this transmitter. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to take that Arduino board and use it to control a bright flashlight like that. This is a Harbor Freight 24 LED light that you can get at Harbor Freight now for like $1.97 or so. And I happen to have a few of these around. And I said, this looks pretty bright. It's darn bright, and you're probably able to see that on the street. It's 100 lumen output, which is the strength of a really bright flashlight. It works on 3 AAA cells, and I measured the current that's being drawn out of by those LEDs all at the same time, and it measured around 450 or 500 milliamps. And the problem with trying to drive all those with an Arduino pin is the Arduino pin only can handle 20 milliamps maximum. It doesn't have enough power to drive all of those LEDs. So what we did was we used a MOSFET. It's a transistor switch. We took a couple of those in parallel, the BS170s. This is a very common MOSFET that's used as a final in the USGX Plus and I believe the True SDX, and also it's been used in the QMX. I think the QCX also uses this particular MOSFET. It's a little power switch, and it switches on with you only need 2 volts to switch a thing on, and each one can handle 500 milliamps. So I use 2 of these in parallel to avoid them from going overheating. So it splits the current between both of those. And we're just taking the output of the Arduino Nano and using it to switch both of these transistors. So we went ahead and modeled it. And this is a really neat, this is the code, of course, on this side that runs the Arduino. And this is a web page where you can just put the code in there, put together the components here on this side, and then you can press the button to simulate, and you'll hear the noise coming out of the buzzer, with the Morse code, and you'll see the light flash. So it's a way of simulating this to see if it's actually going to work or not, and it sure did when we tried it. The next thing we had to do was to modify the flashlight. So we opened up, we removed the back, and this shows, of course, the 3 AAA batteries, and you remove these 4 screws to be able to take off the front cover, and it shows the 24 LEDs. 2 more screws are removed here. These are on either side of that switch. That's the switch that turns the lights on and off. And those are the contacts for the switch. And what we did was just wired, this is 2 conductors that are out of a piece of a ribbon cable that I salvaged from an old computer, and just put the wires across those switch contacts to be able to switch the lights on and off. And there it is. That's what it looks like with the wires coming out. And then this is the Arduino circuit with a little sounder. These are the little MOSFET transistors. And there's a little socket over there that I can just plug this wire right into. And it runs off a 9-volt battery. That's what's powering the Arduino. So there it is. You can see it. And there it is in person. And And mission accomplished. It's a fun thing. So I'll pass it around so you all can see it. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
That's neat, Carol. Let's let Phil talk about what he brought, and then we'll do the raffle.
Too much free time. That's what Phil says. I have too much free time to do these things.
At Pacificon, the NorCal QRP Club was offering what they call the Pacificon 40, which is a little 5-watt QRP rig, super heterodyne receiver. It's all digital, goes together pretty quick. And Hank was gracious enough to build the box for me. I'll pass it around so everybody can look at it. Yes, it works.
Phil says it works. Well, they were raffling some off, yeah, there was some.
I'd like to thank Wilson and Walter over there, their assistance in some projects. Walter with going to finish off helping me with an antenna, 10-meter antenna dipole that I've been struggling with for several months. And Wilson worked over my power supplies and the LEDs on the meters. My gosh, you could light up this room in the middle of the night after 10 minutes after the power supply is shut off. But both fellows, thank you very much.
Here you go. Kicks out.
Oh, yes.
So here's, to give you an idea of what quartzite looks like, there's a generalized, this little area in the middle is the main camping ring. And here, all of these vehicles around there are hams that have come in from all over. So if you go through, that's the main fire ring where there's a presentation at the end of the day. There's 3 other places where they do different presentations. They're not all ham radio presentations. So there's like a cooking in cast iron pans and stuff like that. Metal detectors, yeah. So it can be very windy and very dusty. It can be absolutely beautiful. So it's a very, this is the event that made me actually go out and buy a travel trailer. When first year we went, our tent blew over. So and there's Gordon, Gordo's there. He was the person that really started this. And Randy always comes, and sometimes Amy and Jerry come. I don't think did I see them last year? Sometimes they bring really cool stuff. So it's a fun thing. They do a parks on the air. They do a summits on the air. They set up weather balloons. They set up, so there are people that come in with pico balloons and let them loose. There's a walk, show everybody's antenna set up in their RV. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And it really hasn't gotten back up to, so there were like 1,000 people there before COVID, and COVID took out a lot. So it's gradually working its way up. I just wanted to give you a small taste of what it looks like. That's all.
Thank you. Are you and Tom going this year?
Yeah, we are.
Mike, are you going? Okay.
Mike's going, and we have a friend coming in from Oregon.
Caravanning together?
Probably. And
Yeah.
there's somebody, Tom, who's the other person that comes down from the club? Yeah, I thought you said there was somebody. No? All right.
All right. Thank you, Sylvia. Thanks for all your comments. Let's turn it over to Gert. I will say that we have an ICOM handheld, a tiny spectrum analyzer or tiny SA, and 40 feet of coax.
And just so you know, I always do a 6 for $5. Anybody still wants to up the possibilities? I'm still open to taking a 5 for 6. I don't see any hands. Kayla, you want to do that? Okay, we can do that. You're welcome. You want 12?
Whatever tell them why. You know you can't. I know. I've been here for a long time, so. People get excited about the big mottos. Yeah. The more people participate, the less chance. Yeah, I know. Okay, thank you.
Best of luck, sir. Hey, look, this stuff.
Well, that pays for the cookie.
Yeah, I'll pay for the cookie. Okie dokie. Well, are we there yet? Well, it's our tradition if we have guests to let them be the happy drawers. So I will give you the honors. Okay. Does someone here have 156909? You do. Oh, the way to go. Well, in that case, sir, pick your prize. It's your choice.
I was just really happy I didn't pick it. I wasn't looking.
And for whatever it's worth, we've had people draw their own. Happiness. You're good. You're good. I fit. You do realize that this means you do have to get your license and join the club and participate. This is called an incentive.
Yeah. I know just first. My wife.
Way to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any last words of wisdom as we enter 2026? We are looking for ideas for Get on the Air events, POTA events, SOTA events, maybe something here, more clinics if people are interested in learning specific techniques or skills. So please share your ideas.
And if anybody was looking at all those quartzite RVs and think, I could use going there. I have a trailer that is fixed up to be a camper. It's a Hallmark 14-foot, and it has a galley kitchen in it, a porta potty, refrigerator, microwave, gas stove, hot water heater. You know, I mean, it's ready to go. We set it up. Pardon? It is ready to move in. We fixed it up with the idea of hauling our three-wheel motorcycle. We have a trike. And then we retired and we ended up not going anywhere. But if anybody, and it has a big inverter, and we have 3 solar panels on the roof and 2 deep cycle batteries, 12-volt lighting, all that good stuff. But it's set up with ham antennas. They have 2 ham antennas on the roof. So it is ready to go for somebody who is both a ham and wants to get off the beaten path. And so I'm open to anybody. You can contact the website if it is vaguely interesting to you, or if you want, if anybody that you know is interested, I'll provide pictures at your request.
All right. Let's close this meeting and I'll see you next month. I hope to hear you on the air. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks, James.